हरे कृष्णा। मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप लोगों को? जी, क्या आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, आवाज आपकी आ रही है।
कृष्णा अर्जुन जी। तो हम डायरेक्ट शुरुआत करेंगे मंगलाचरण से, और फिर लास्ट में थोड़ा सा ऑर्डर चेंज कर लेते हैं, तो हम अब फॉलो करेंगे आगे से। अर्जुन जी, मेरी स्क्रीन आपको दिखाई दे रही है?
जी जी।
ओके। सो जब भी हम भगवत गीता या भागवतम रीड करते हैं तो डायरेक्ट नहीं जाते। सबसे पहले हम अपने कॉन्शियसनेस, we try to purify our consciousness first before we start reading Gita or Srimad Bhagavad. And the reason being that our mind is generally at so many places. So before we start or get into these transcendental topics of Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad, we we try to bring our mind where we are and then start. So this is standard song. We sing 4 lines. You can repeat after me, and I'm sure you'll like it. Takes 2 minutes. We repeat 3 times and then we stop. We go on. Okay, so song goes like this. You can repeat after me. Jaya Ram Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjan.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Nanjana.
Yamuna Tiravanachaari.
Yamuna Tiravanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha. Let me make it simple for you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Jana.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Nanjana.
Yamuna Tiravanachari.
Yamuna Tiravanachari.
Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Thank you, Adani Mataji.
Thank you.
So this is the song, and if there is a translation written, you can read yourself. But essentially, this 4 line includes everything. It includes Radharani, it includes Vrindavan, it includes Gopis, it includes Gopas, it includes Govardhan, Girivar, Hari means Govardhan, and it includes Yashoda, it includes Yashoda Maya Yamuna, right? So this is very powerful composition by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Master Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and in any temple across world, ISKCON, you will hear this beautiful singing of Jai Radha Madhav. And this is the Radha Madhav Ji from Mayapur temple. So Radharani, and then Madhava, and then you have Lalita Visakha and disappears on the side. It's just this image is stopped. Okay. So now let's get into our business today. So I'll read these prayers before we read, and then just like last time we did, we will get into our Gita item. Magyānatimirandhasya jnānāñjana-salakaya Yatyarupaurmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadvati Sudantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Utapadakamam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanshya Sri Rupam Shakrajatam Shakalalitam Tam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Dan Shakanilita Sri Vishakam Tansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Ramate Vrindavaneshwari Vishwapani Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभस्य च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरव हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम Hare. So at the end, we pray to Srila Prabhupada, who is the author at this for this version of book we are reading. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimati Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charan Shanyavadi Paschakte. And all of you can repeat after me these three times. We say Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
All right. So today here we are again, and we have listed which is expected because last time we had 23 people, now we are just 30 here. So let's see. English language seems like not very. We don't have a cohort people who. But we'll continue. So everybody has this book, right? I hope you have already. And last time we read we ended here. Okay, you can see it. Can you see? Do you see opposite or you see right words? I see opposite names.
We see it right.
So you read about Baladeva Vidyabhushana, and I gave you roughly a little homework to read the book about Srila Prabhupada. So who read about it? If you want to say a little, whatever you learn. I shared a video. If you had a chance to see, you can share some information for all of us from there. Anyone who had a chance to see the video?
From where, Prabhuji? I got the new book.
No, not in the book. I shared a video, YouTube video on the group. In the group.
Yeah. Okay.
Bob Slip Prabhupada. And if you saw it, then I'm just asking if anyone, able to see it, you could share some information there.
Yes, I saw the video, Guruji. So
Yes, please tell me.
yeah. Guruji, Prabhupada was working as in a normal chemical, I think, engineering company, and his friend actually took him to meet his Gurudev. They went. He did not believe in meeting in attending any preach meeting, but since his friend invited, he went there, and there his Guruji's main motive was the youngsters who are good in English. They have to go to US and preach about the Bhagavad Gita and the followings. So that is the main thing that caught Prabhupada Guruji, and he he tried to write magazines first. So he was trying to write magazines and sell it, but that was not he was not able to earn much from the magazines, and he did not reach people. Then he was struggling so much, and one day he got that he decided to translate the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So he was trying to translate part by part, like first part, second part, and third part. So individually, he was releasing those books, and that got actually so much attention. And he thought he should translate the entire parts. And he traveled to Boston with a lot of struggle, and he went with only 40 books, I think, in hand, and he started selling there, and he tried to preach between the American boys and girls. And slowly the video showed like how his movement became, how the ISKCON formed in various places like New York and San Francisco and such things. So he finally he is living in his words through his books. So that is the short thing I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Pavitra-ji. And you really did a nice job to summarize for everyone. This is wonderful, and I really appreciate that your effort.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to add something? Because see, already you said the same. Anybody wants to add anything which Pavitra couldn't say? If you add, then I assume that you watched the video. Otherwise, I assume you did not do the sign, because how would I know, right? There is no. If you did not do, then you can do this week, coming week. It's important to know about author, and the effort has gone to get this book in our hand. Okay, it would be great service. And you will feel more inspired if you know about the author who document this book for us, right? So that's the purpose. Anybody else? had a chance to see the video, you can say no in the chat so that I know at least I'm missing, or I'm able to reach all of you. I don't see any one of you, so I'm not sure. I can't see your expression. Yes, no. Okay. Thank you, Vignesh, for texting. Okay, no problem. You can watch. It's a nice documentary. If you even love reading documentary, watching documentary or novels or courageous stories, it's one of the courageous stories in the world. So everybody has this book, I hope, and you go to the page number 13. It's called Setting the Scene. You have that?
Do we have it in
Setting.
PDF? This one, I don't have the book yet. Guruji.
I don't have in PDF. I think
Okay.
PDF doesn't have this Setting the Scene because this is by
Oh.
publisher.
Okay.
But from preface we will have in PDF, like that's where it's like so. But it's important to read about setting the scene, like background before we start reading.
Okay.
But no problem. You can order one. It is CG, and for today you can just listen.
Yes.
And once we reach to preface, then you can read. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'll start reading few paragraph, and then everyone who wants to read can raise your hand, and I'll come to you, call your name, and you can read. Okay. So this is setting the scene. Although widely published and read by itself, Bhagavad Gita originally appeared as an episode in Mahabharata, the epic Sanskrit history of the ancient world. Mahabharata tells the events leading up to the present age of Kali. It was at the beginning of this age, some 50 centuries ago, that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to his friend and devotee Arjuna. Yes, so everybody understood this paragraph, right? Anybody had any confusion? I'm just asking so that I don't give unnecessary clarification if not needed. Okay. So essentially saying that Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, and Mahabharata happened 5,000 years ago. It's a history documentation in the world. There is no older than Mahabharata history documentation. It's so elaborate and detailed, right? And you have archaeological survey of India doing all the research and finding out it is real. Okay. It's not mythology, it's a history. That's the first thing to say. If you want to know more scientific evidence, I can share, but I don't want to take your time today. But there is a whole research done and going on finding Mahabharata sites, Dwaraka, Krishna, and all the related aspects of Mahabharata. They disclose, so next paragraph I'm reading, they disclose one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogues known to man took place just before the onset of war, the great fratricidal conflict between the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra and one on the opposing side, their cousins, the Pandavas or the sons of Pandu. Okay, next paragraph. Nagarani, do you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers born in the Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharata, a former ruler of the earth, from whom the name Mahabharata derives. Because Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind, the throne that otherwise would have been his was passed down to the younger brother Pandu. When Pandu died at an early age, his 5 children, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, came under the care of Dhritarashtra, who in effect became, for the time being, the king. Thus, the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu grew up in the same royal household. Both were trained in the military arts by the expert Drona and concealed by the revered grandfather of the clan Bhishma. Yet the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially the eldest, Duryodhana, hated and envied the Pandavas. And the blind and weak-minded Dhritarashtra wanted his own son, not those of Pandu, to inherit the kingdom. Thus, Duryodhana, with Dhritarashtra's consent, plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu, and it was only by the careful protection of their uncle Vidura and their cousin Lord Krishna that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives.
Thank you, Nagarani Mantaji. So I'll give little background and then next person can read. So this you just read, and as we hear here that essentially Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers. Okay. And Pandu died, just like your younger brother died, then sons of younger brother comes and the elders for the protection. It's natural. We know in our families or nearby relatives that happens. And Dhritarashtra has 100 sons, and Pandus have five sons. And there is a whole documentation of ancestry tree. We can start review sometime in future. Today, you see that Dhritarashtra was blind. So the rule was that in ancient time that one has to be perfectly healthy by physical and mentally to become a king. Even if you're a young elder brother, if person doesn't have physical and mental abilities, now it is also like, right, if your eyesight is not this much, your physical strength is not this much in certain jobs, like especially in fighting and war, like army, you're not admitted. If you're not physically good, you're not mentally good, out, right? Because in war, especially king were mean, the Kshatriyas were mean to keep protection people. So they have to be physically, mentally strong. Even nowadays also, right? Do you know that the prime minister or president goes through medical checkup before they can become? If they disqualify, they can't, because it's about country. We can't just be sitting there based on inheritance and doing things, right? That was a rule. So Pandu was a king. Dhritarashtra was not happy because he thought, just I'm blind, how can my younger brother take the position, right? And that is why he didn't like it. He has a very much, resentment, envy towards Pandu and sons. And then when Pandu died, Dhritarashtra is now opposition. Okay, now I can become interim king. And when my children grow up, and my children's like Duryodhan can take over, youngest, elder son Duryodhan, and followed by 99 sons. So he knew that I'm strong by manpower, I'm strong by my sons, and I can easily take over the kingdom. Right? And which was okay. In a sense, like it's okay, right? Like, because he couldn't take over the kingdom, Dhritarashtra couldn't take it, but his sons can, right? So they can take it. That's not a problem. But if you read here, Duryodhan wanted to kill Pandus and then take over the kingdom. He doesn't want it that you stay with me. I'll kill you, then I'll rule you, right? That was a problem, right? And then Pandava were, Vidura and Lord Krishna, because they're the cousin brother. It's like our cousins, we give protection, right? So Lord Krishna was giving protection, and then Duryodhan was plotting to kill. There is a whole Mahabharata. Okay, next paragraph, starting with now, Lordka, who wants to go and read? Any volunteer? Vitu. Okay, Vitu.
I lead Prabhuji.
Yes. Now Lord
Does
Krishna
Duryodhana-
was not in.
Okay.
No.
Now Lord Krishna was not an ordinary man, but the supreme Godhead himself, who had descended to the earth and was playing the role of prince in a contemporary dynasty. In this role, he was also the nephew of Pandu's wife Kunti or Pritha, the mother of Pandavas. So, both as a relative and as the eternal upholder of religion, Krishna favored the righteous son of Pandu and protected them. Ultimately, however, the clever Duryodhana challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. In the course of that fateful tournament, Duryodhana and his brothers took possession of Draupadi, the chaste and devoted wife of the Pandavas, and insultingly tried to strip her naked before the entire assembly of princes and kings. Krishna's divine intervention saved her, but the gambling, which was rigged, cheated and Pandavas of their kingdom and forced them into 13 years of exile. Upon
Thank you,
returning,
Ritu.
yes,
Sorry. You can little bit discuss and then next person can go if that's okay. There is a lot of matter here came up. Right? We cannot discuss everything for sure detail, but I will try to give you everyone little bit background. So there are a lot of questions here, right? One question comes in mind that why did Krishna support Pandavas? And this line here says righteous people. Krishna comes pranaya sadhunam vasaya chatuskrita dharma samsthanarthaya sambhavan yoga. He descended, and you read in Srimad Bhagavatam, he was not born out of sexual intercourse or men and women's relationship. He just appeared, and in four-handed form. If you see your child four-handed, you will just say, "Okay, this is some abnormality. My son has like four hand, and helmet and everything, right?" And they say, "No, this is some embryological abnormality." And you just throw it, right? Now, but Krishna, he appeared as Vishnu, and then he transformed to baby. So he was playing a role. He chose his father, mother. He chose all relationship, and Pandava's mother Kunti was Bua, if you call. I don't know what you call in other cultures, other areas of India, but in our place, it's like my father's sister would be my Bua. It's called like that. So then Krishna was related with Pandavas, and now question comes: why did Pandavas or Yudhishthir went to play a gambling match? Right? Gambling is not a great thing, right? Gambling is bad. And in ISKCON we say no gambling, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, right? And then why did Pandus play gambling match? Right? Why did they do that? Okay, you played gambling match, you lost everything, but why did you get your wife for a gambling, right? And then you lost it, fine, but you could have fought and take back your wife, right? Why did you do like that, right? So there is a principle. If you when we read Bhagavad Gita, we'll come to know that Krishna explains what is the duty of Kshatriya. They were Kshatriyas by birth. History is called Dharmaraj. It's the most righteous, truthful person on the planet he was, right? So he, of the five brothers, generally eldest brother took decision. So Yudhishthir used to take all the decisions. So there was an invitation from Ras, Sakuni, and Duryodhan, and this was a plan that let invite Pandavas. They were living in beautiful palace they built with the help of what do you call Vishwakarma built it for them. Beautiful. And then Kauravas were very envious. If you read Mahabharata, you'll come to know. Yeah. So, and that's where Duryodhana felt insulted when he visited Rajasui Yagya. The Yudhishthira were performing, and Duryodhana, the tiles were so clean and transparent, he assumed that it is a water, and in water he assumed it's a tile. He fell down, and then all the omens started laughing. It's natural, right? When but he took it as a very personal insult, and Duryodhana and Karna was supporting Duryodhana. So Duryodhana felt, now I will take revenge when right time comes. Came back, plotted this gambling match, invited the Yudhishthir and Pandavas to play. Now, the rule is for Kshatriya, if somebody challenged you or invite you for anything like that, match, war, anything, you are supposed to go. That's the duty of Kshatriya. So Yudhishthir know that this is a plan of Dras and Sakuni to gamble and cheat me. He has to go. Because if you don't do that, then you're not Kshatriya. You lose the position of Kshatriya. So it was his duty, moral duty, and and dharma to follow. So he went for it. Now, while match was happening, he was losing because Sakuni was very clever and very powerful gambler. Okay. Sakuni was sitting next to Duryodhana and advising, and he was losing. And he lost. At the end, he said, I don't have anything. Right? So if you remember, Draupadi, the way she got married to 5 Pandavas, that there was a context, and they won Draupadi from Drupad, right? So, and then they came with her, and then Kunti was in the house, and they generally, when they come and say, Mother, I brought something for you. And then Mother Draupadi, Mother Kunti said, distribute amongst all of you. She didn't know what they brought it. They brought a beautiful wife or assistant for her. And she assumed maybe they want something, got something, she distributed. And once he said distributed, now they had to follow the order of mother. They were so righteous and following the dharma. So they all 5, the Draupadi, wife of 5 Pandavas, wife of 5 husbands, right? There is a whole detail how they were living, how things were going on in Bharati. But so Draupadi was one out of contest which happened, and they brought us. So she was a wife for all 5. And then Duryodhana and Sakuni said that you still have something, because ultimately the target was to take revenge. They got whole kingdom, they took everything from them, right? But the main intention was to capture Draupadi and insult her, like they felt that they were insulted by her. So they said, you still have your wife, which you won. It's your property, right? You can wed. And morally, it is not a good idea. Wife is not your journalist. It's considered very important part of life. Nobody should consider it a property, right? That's one mistake I think Yudhishthir did. Yudhishthir should have not done that. But given the providence, he was ready to wed his wife. And they won the match. Now what they did do? Okay, you won something. Okay, you won the wife of Pandavas. Why you wanted to strip her in the assembly? What was that? You won, you take it, but no. And you will see this was the one reason insult of omen led to Mahabharata. This was just one event happened there. Pandavas forgive everything, right? And then here you see Krishna saved her. Krishna, there is a whole situation. How did Krishna came? And then, Pandavas were forced to exile for 13 years, right? Even after doing all that, they said, okay, now you go 13 years for exile, right? So they went for it. They would have just fought. Would have just, let's have a war. Let's kill all of them. They could have killed and did war and won. But they did not, because Yudhishthira were living by words. He was person of dharma, person of morality. He said, we will follow what we promised for, right? So let's go to next section. Who wants to read? Sushil, okay, please. You want to read?
Should I
Yes.
say?
Yes, you
Upon
can
returning
read
from
from
it.
Yes, thank you.
Sir,
Yes,
let me start.
yes.
Upon returning from exile, the Pandavas rightfully requested their kingdom from Duryodhana, who bluntly refused to yield it. Duryodhana, as a prince to serve the public administration, the five Pandavas reduced their request to a mere 5 villages. But Duryodhana arrogantly replied that he would not spare them enough land uh, uh, in, into which to drive a pin. Throughout all this, the Pandava had been consistently tolerant and forbearing, but now war seemed inevitable. Hello.
Sorry. Yeah, I was saying thank you for reading. So little bit background. So I already told you whole story. They won gambling match. They said, okay, go for 13-year exile. Pandavas followed it. They came back. I said, my dear brother and my dear uncle, Ras, right? Now, please now give us our right share of the kingdom, right? They said, no, you won't have any. That's what the purpose, right? They were thinking, oh, now they are gone. They won't come back because they were, you remember if you read Mahabharata, while they were in the forest, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra made all the attempts to kill them. They burned the house, locked, and they wanted to, send troops, wage wars during forest also, right? But the Pandavas tolerated it, right? Krishna tolerated it. Krishna would have just intervened and just finished Duryodhana. So no, let them, you know, Dhritarashtra never requested, Pandavas never requested Krishna's help for anything worse. Even, you know what? Duryodhana sent Durvasa Muni, if you remember his story. Because he thought, I will not get any of the curse. Let Durvasa Muni do it. Durvasa Muni is one of the worst Muni, Rishi. He's very intolerant. So he sent him with thousands of disciples in forests. Pandavas were living because they were Kshatriyas. So if Brahmana comes to your house, you are supposed to feed them. And when did he ask him to Duryodhana Muni to go? You know when? After lunch, so that they will not have anything. And if Duryodhana Muni sees that the Kshatriyas, Pandavas eaten something before offering to the deceased, then he will curse them. By their curse, Pandavas will be killed. That was the plan. So he did worse and worse, you will see. And they were tolerating. And now they are here asking, my dear brother, please give me some, at least 5 villages. Duryodhana said, no. And what he say? I will not give you a land where you can put your pin. What was that, right? And all that, the Dhritarashtra was just watching. Vidura was trying to advise Dhritarashtra, please, don't allow this. This will destroy your whole family. Yes, no, I can't do. I have so much love for Duryodhana and my sons that I can't do it. I'm helpless. Sometimes, some people you will meet, or maybe you sometimes, you see that things are happening wrong, but still you're doing it because it's just something, it can't detach myself, right? Or that was the trust, right? Here. So we in our life, we also become sometimes the trust. We act like, but we have to be careful of future consequences. It may seem nice now, but in future, it will become Mahabharata. Okay? And everything will get destroyed, which I'm trying to protect, right? Now, this is this scene now we are setting. So you see all, now next paragraph we can read. Who wants to read? Any volunteer?
Should I continue?
New person. I was asking any new person, Prabhu, if they want to read. Anyone? Just want to give opportunity. Say, okay, no, then you can read, Prabhu. Please, you can read.
Thank you, sir. Nonetheless, as the princes of the world divided, some siding with the son of Dhritarashtra, other with the Pandavas. Krishna himself took the role of messenger for the sons of Pandu and went to the court of Dhritarashtra to plead for peace. When his pleas were refused, war was now certain. The Pandavas, the men of the highest moral stature, recognized Krishna to be the supreme personality of the Godhead, whereas the impious son of the Dhritarashtra did not. Yet Krishna offered to enter the war according to the desire of the antagonist. As God, we could not personally fight, but whoever so desired might avail himself of Krishna army, and the other side would have Krishna himself as the advisor and helper. Duryodhana, the political genius, snatched at the Krishna's armed forces, while the Pandavas were equally eager to have Krishna himself.
Thank you, Prabhu. We'll pause a few minutes. So now you see here what we just read, that this was a world war. Mahabharata was not just war between two families. No, because the rulers were from the world, right? Nowadays also you see, I'll show you some examples. You know, anybody here knows history of World War I and II? Anybody from the audience? Who was
Prabhu, can you
who,
repeat the question?
so
Can you
anybody
repeat
knows
once?
who World War I and II? There were generally two sides were fighting in each of those. Anybody knows which country on other one side, which countries were on other side? Let's stick to World War I. You know, Hitler, Germany, Russia, United States, Europe, China at that time was not a superpower, so they did not. Now they take sides. But don't worry. What I'm trying to say is, when power two side of power separate, the whole world is a war, right? Right now, the Ukraine war is going on, so Russia's getting support from certain countries. Ukraine in Europe in getting support from certain other sides, right? So the same thing happened that time, 5,000 years ago. When they were world leaders, the Pandavas, the Dhritarashtra, right? Hastinapur was world capital. Delhi, current Delhi, was a world capital. And whole world was being ruled from there. And there were different kingdoms. You have Maharaj and you have Rajas. So Rajas means kings, and then Maharajas means kings of all the kings. So the Dhritarashtra and Pandava's family was king of all the kings. When the family divided, different king of different friends took different sides, right? That's what being said. And before that supposed to happen, Krishna wanted peace. Some people, they read Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, second chapter, and they say, Krishna waged the war. Arjuna was very soft-hearted and he didn't want to kill the people. But Krishna was immoral and he created the war. But if you read this here and read Mahabharata, Krishna don't want to the war. He is not there to destroy the family. He went personally to do a peace negotiation as a Duta. It's like nowadays, when war is supposed to happen, the ambassadors go and just negotiate. No, let's avoid it. Let's avoid it. And what happened? You know what? He was insulted in the assembly. And Duryodhana wanted to arrest Krishna and kill him. Because he was thinking if he is killed, then Pandavas will be killed automatically. Right? This is what happened. What do you expect out of this whole situation, right? You read yourself. And then that's where, there's still Duryodhana, you remember the story, Duryodhana went to Krishna because Krishna had actually a whole army, okay? Biggest army in the world Krishna had. And Krishna was related with both the sides, Duryodhana and Pandavas, because they were brothers. So Duryodhana went to Krishna to ask for support. And Arjuna also went to ask for support, right? What did Duryodhana ask for? He said, give me your army, because he knew that what Krishna can do personally. I don't need him. He's not my well-wisher. But his army, if I take, I will have a power. I'll have a whole army to fight. And Arjuna was happy with Krishna. He said, okay, Krishna is on my side, my friend, my dear brother, right? So you see the intention, the character, and the nature of both sides, right? So that's where Prabhu stopped reading, and we'll go further. We'll take questions and then we will give enough time. And we'll end on time, so don't worry. Next 2-3 paragraph, who wants to read? Take opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita, okay? Don't sigh, don't worry. This is very important. You should read, engaged. We have limited people. All of us can interact and see each other. Keep it more personal, okay? Anybody, next one want to read this paragraph? In this way, Krishna became the charioteer. Of
Prabhu, can I try?
course.
Yeah. In this way, Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna, taking it upon himself to drive the fabled bowman's chariot. This brings us to the point at which Bhagavad Gita begins. With the two armies arrayed, ready to combat, and Dhritarashtra anxiously inquiring of his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? The scene is set with only the need for brief note regarding this translation and commentary. The general pattern translators have followed in rendering Bhagavad Gita into English has been to brush aside the person Krishna to make the room for their own concept and philosophies. The history of Mahabharata is taken as a quaint mythology, and Krishna became poetic device for presenting the idea of some anonymous genius, or at the best, he becomes a minor historical personage. But the person Krishna is both the goal and the substance of Bhagavad Gita. So far as Gita speaks of itself, this translation then and the commentary that accompanies it proposes to direct reader to Krishna rather than away from him. The Bhagavad Gita thus becomes wholly consistent and comprehensible. Since Krishna is speaker of Gita and its ultimate goal as well, Bhagavad Gita as it is present the great scripture in its true term. The publishers.
Thank you. So what it is saying here, that there are places you can Google, somebody can Google now, just search how many English translation of Bhagavad Gita commentary available in the world now. At that time, it was around 200, I think, so far said, in 55 years ago. So 200 already available, but most of what they did, they said Krishna is consciousness, Krishna is a person, historical person, but not God. Krishna is just a poet. He knew expert, he was a big political person. There's so many connotations given to Krishna. His character, so many things they talk about, but even while talking Bhagavad Gita, they try to put their philosophies, because suppose if Soumyaji wrote a book or gave a philosophy, okay, I see you that something, sorry, no offense. So you created a formula, for example, okay, mathematical formula. Now, that's very great. I know this is very great, and you did it. I can, okay. How will I present? Now you are gone. Suppose you left the body. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to use an analogy. Left the body and you're not there, no longer. Your formula is there. The whole history is there. Your house is there. Everything is there. I come. I take that formula and say, you know what? Let me give some more interpretation on this language, on this formula, right? And what I will do, how I will able to insert my concept, my ideas. I have to take Soumyaji out. I will not have to talk about her, because moment I will talk about Soumyaji, then I have to talk about her own everything, right? Where is my space? So most of translators of Bhagavad Gita, what they did, especially in English, they were intellectual, even to the president of India. Okay, what did they do? They said Krishna is historical. Let's leave that alone. Let me give my interpretation. What? Because if you're writing a book, you're supposed to give your interpretation. But Bhagavad Gita is already spoken by Krishna. Nobody can speak more than Krishna. So what is the point of inserting my own ideology in that? That's a nonsense idea. But because Bhagavad Gita is so famous, so using Bhagavad Gita, I can become famous. That is an idea. And I can become intellectually known worldwide if I give my ideas on this. I know as a Sanskrit scholar, if I give my ideas. All these materialistic tendencies led to so many translations. People got cheated because essentially I'm cheating others, not talking about Krishna, not talking about Soumyaji, and I'm using all the formulas and doing everything right. Cheating, right? That's what happened. And this book, especially Srila Prabhupada, you will go through it, realize it without any personal motivation, invitation, as it is. That's why it's called as it is. Now we reach to the preface, and let's read. Preface is written by Srila Prabhupada, personally, handwritten. Who wants to read? We have another, I think, 10, 12 minutes, and then we'll have questions. Okay.
So
Who
reads
wants
the
to read,
first
please?
line. Originally, I
Yes.
wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is. Is it that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me share the screen. Some people doesn't have. So I'm going to share the screen. Okay. And then they can see it. Just okay. Wait, I'm gonna put it full screen so that you can see it. Okay. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, Guruji.
Thank you. Now you can read, Samesh.
Yes. Originally, I wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is in the form in which it is presented now. When this book was first published, the original manuscript was unfortunately cut short to less than 400 pages, without illustrations and without explanations for most of the original verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In all of my other books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Ishopanishad, etc., the system is that I give the original verse, its English transliteration, word for word, Sanskrit to English equivalents, translations, and purports. This makes the book very authentic and scholarly and makes the meaning self-evident. I was not very happy, therefore, when I had to minimize my original manuscript. But later on, when the demand for Bhagavad Gita as it is considerably increased, I was requested by many scholars and devotees to present the book in its original form. Thus, the present attempt is to offer the original manuscript of this great book of knowledge with full parampara explanation in order to establish the Krishna consciousness movement more soundly and progressively.
Thank you. So you already read, but there are some background which I hear from devotees and people who at that time worked with Srila Prabhupada said about. So originally, most of Bhagavad Gita translation, if you will see online, you can go and check out. They're not more than 200 pages, 300 pages. Why? Because the authors thought that people won't read if you make a big book, because people used to reading quick, right? And also most of English translation of Bhagavad Gita doesn't have word by word meaning. Because if you give word by word meaning, then people can make their own judgment, what is true, what is not true. And then to give word by word meaning of Sanskrit, you have to be scholar, grammatically thorough in Sanskrit. None of these intellectuals who wrote English version has all that. So then you can concoct when you're not presenting the detail. It's like if you're in, so if you publish papers, if you're not writing detailed method, then nobody can know what result you produced, essentially, right? If you give detailed method, then people can find out what exactly went in. And people can replicate it and repeat the same thing. For example, if I'm cooking a dish and I made a YouTube video, I didn't tell you recipe. I just tell you, this is what it is, this, but I never tell you recipe, no detail, how much to eat, how much time, everything. You will never able to understand. You just enjoy the food. That's it. Never know what went in. Same thing. But here, Prabhupada was also advised in the beginning, let's make it short, 400 pages. He did it. But then he was not happy because he wanted to give real. He doesn't want to teach people. So then he produced another version, which is the current in your hand, this version. It has, if you go 800 pages, like 800, you can check. Somebody can check and let me the number pages. So, and why this becomes such a big thing, such detailed book? Why? Because you see this parampara explanation. Just like we write public manuscript and papers, right? The research articles. Every line you write, you have to reference something. Or if you're writing results, you have to refer to your figures, right? Your data, your information. Or you cite someone else's work who did earlier. Parampara explanation means everything he tries to explain in this book refers to someone previous acharya's explanation or other scriptures reference the verses where it was spoken, so that you feel more authentic rather than giving his own explanation ideas, right? It's more scientific and more logical rather than forcing thoughts on someone's brain, right? So that's and just a little background. When he wrote this book, first manuscript in Vrindavan, he was in Vrindavan. Okay? He took sannyas. He was living in Vrindavan alone. He wrote that with the handwritten manuscript, everything what you have right now. He moved to United States. He was living in New York with hippies and with a friend, yoga studio. In the one night, he has the whole. You can understand it. This is handwritten. How thick it would be, right? And after handwriting, he used to type on the typewriter button, click, 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 like in court or advocates. Go still you will find a big tick. He used to do that, and he was working on that in New York in a Bowery area. One night, one thief broke and he stole the manuscript. His 7-8 year of work in New York. The whole manuscript was stolen. Typewriter was stolen, gone, everything gone. Because they thought that we'll sell the typewriter. They also took the manuscript of Gita. Now he was devastated. Like, what am I gonna do? How am I going to reproduce this again? Right? Even if we write some paper and somebody deletes our file, it's really impossible. You do something and delete it, gone. But Krishna was with him. He rewrote it within few months, everything. Few months, you can imagine, day and night, just sleeping 1 hour, 2 hours every day. This book you have is that version, rewritten again, because that was stolen in New York. And then he rewrote it, and this time he published it so that nobody can steal it. Because once you publish it, you have multiple versions of it, right? So Prabhupada has really, he could have just, he has Srimad Bhagavatam by then. He made Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. He could have thought, no, let's not do Bhagavad Gita, not anything. But he knew that this is needed for us once he leaves. So he did it again. And then now we have this in our hands. So let's read next paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, the
It's
total
okay.
number of pages you were asking for,
Yes.
So in this Bhagavad Gita, as it is a book, I have the second edition, which is revised one
Yes.
and the enlarged one also. It has got total number of pages 996, Prabhu.
Okay, yes, you're correct. I think mine also is different book have few page differences, but
Maybe.
mostly, yeah,
Mhm.
I have 872.
Okay. So can I start, or you're going to
Yes.
sum up?
No, you can read next
I can read.
paragraph.
Okay. Prabhu. Our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. It is gradually becoming the most popular movement in the entire world, especially amongst the younger generation. It is becoming more and more interesting to the older generation also. Older gentlemen are becoming interested, so much so that the fathers and grandfathers of my disciples are encouraging us by becoming life members of our great society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In Los Angeles, many fathers and mothers used to come to see me to express their feelings of gratitude for my leading the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the entire world. Some of them said that it is greatly fortunate for the Americans that I have started the Krishna consciousness movement in America. But actually, the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself. Since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by disciplic succession. If I have any credit in this connection, it doesn't belong to me personally, but it is due to my eternal spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrja Kacharya, 108 Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. Should I continue or?
Thank you. Just a line that people can read and see here, right? How humble Srila Prabhupada is. He said, Krishna is a speaker, he is a writer, I have nothing to do. My spiritual master is everything. So author doesn't take, if author is taking all the credit, then you can be careful. In any book you read, it's gonna mess up somewhere. Okay, so let's go to next section, monthly.
Should I continue? Somebody else is
Yes.
going to read.
Anybody else want to read? Just let
Yeah,
me
can
check
I?
this. Yes.
Can I do it?
Yes.
Mm,
Okay, Saraji, and then
If,
I'll come back
yeah.
to other people.
If personally I have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any adulteration. Before my presentation of Bhagavad Gita as it is, almost all the English edition of Bhagavad Gita were introduced to fulfill someone's personal ambition. But our attempt in presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Our business is to present the will of Krishna, not that of any modern speculators like the politician, philosopher, or scientist, for they have very little knowledge of Krishna, despite all their other knowledge. When Krishna says, Man mana bhav, mand bhakto mad yaji, mama namaskaro, Bhagavad Gita 18.65, etc. We, unlike the so-called scholar, don't say that Krishna and his inner spirit are different. Krishna is absolute, and there is no difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's form, and Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, etc. The absolute position of Krishna is difficult to understand for any person who is not a devotee of Krishna in the system of parampara, disciplic succession. Generally, the so-called scholar, politician, philosopher, and swamis without perfect knowledge of Krishna try to banish or kill Krishna when writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Such unauthorized commentary upon Bhagavad Gita is known as Mayavad Bhasya. And Lord Chaitanya has warned us about this unauthorized men. Lord Chaitanya clearly say that anyone who try to understand Bhagavad Gita from the Mayavadi point of view will commit a great blunder. The result of such blunder will be the misguided student of Bhagavad Gita will certainly be bewildered on the path of spiritual guidance and will not be able to go back to home, back to the Godhead.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Last one to read, then we will have question answer. Or if everybody, just a minute, if everybody has little time, we can finish this preface today. Is that okay with everyone? Like another extra 15 minutes? Just
Yes.
checking so that we, or anybody doesn't have time, that you can say. All of us agree? We have 2-3 paragraphs and then, okay, thank you. Okay, you can read. Anybody else want to read?
Can I read, Guruji?
I think you read once. I'm just checking anybody else who didn't read even once. JV ji, Kavita ji, or just ask name now. Suraj, Vignesh, any of those people?
Should I continue, sir?
Sure. All right. So
Should I
Sushil ji
continue?
can read, and then yes, and then we can go to Jyoti ji, and then accordingly follow.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
bro,
you.
please.
Our only purpose is to present the Bhagavad Gita as it is, in order to guide the conditioned aspirant to the same purpose for which Krishna descended on their planet once in a day of Brahma, or every 86 crore
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
This purpose is stated in Bhagavad Gita, and we have to accept it as it is. Otherwise, there is no point in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita and its speaker, Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita to Sun God some hundreds of millions of years ago. We have to accept this fact and thus understand the historical significance of Bhagavad Gita without misinterpretation on the authority of Krishna. To interpret Bhagavad Gita without any reference to the will of Krishna is the greatest offense. In order to save oneself from this offense, one has to understand the Lord as the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. As he was directly understood by the Arjuna, Lord Krishna's first disciple, such understanding of Bhagavad Gita is really profitable and authorized for welfare of the human society in fulfilling the mission of the life.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So little background here, very little. That this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks in every millennium. That is what you see, 8.6. You're right. One day of Brahma. That's every yoga actually. It's a one day of Brahma. Anybody understand what does it mean? One day of Brahma is equal to one time creation and destruction happened. The whole day, 24 hours for Brahma is our 8 point, let's see, how many? 8,600 million years of earth is one day of Brahma. So every day of Brahma, Krishna speaks this Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Is that clear to everyone? Now
Yes,
you're
Prabhu.
thinking Brahma has so long life,
Yes.
right? That's why we have Brahma is unlimited. Unlimited does not mean unlimited. Time has limit. Okay. Time is not unlimited. It's a connotation. People use these words like unlimited, live forever, all that. Nobody lives forever. It's blatant lie. Nobody lives forever. Anybody born in this world has to die, right? It's like your unlimited internet plan. But in the United States, they say unlimited, but then you have 20 GB. Okay. But they say that's unlimited. So that like that people sit in Brahma. Yeah, that's true, right? There's an unlimited guarantee, but when the star says 10 years, so that's the life of device. Okay, so here, so we'll read about Brahma in detail in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna talks about it and how he lives, what's life he has. He can talk because Krishna created Brahma, so he can talk all. Right. So then what he's saying that people have been trying to remove Krishna out of the story, right? And don't focus on Krishna and read Bhagavad Gita and preach Bhagavad Gita, talk about Bhagavad Gita and say I'm a scholar. But just like example of Soumya-ji, I take her formula I use for everything. I never talk about Soumya. So what is the value we're gonna get out of it, right? No innovation. I'm gonna just cheat, right? Okay, next paragraph. There are two paragraphs. People can raise hand so that I don't put a context, right? Competition. So next, who wants to read? Okay, Jyoti ji wants to read.
Prabhu, yes, please, Prabhu. I'll be.
Okay, and who would be next after you? I'm just gonna confirm so that we straight. After Jyoti ji, who wants to read last paragraph? Okay, Ramya ji. Okay, so two people. All right. So you can go ahead, Jyoti ji.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. The Krishna consciousness movement is essential in human society, for it offers the highest perfection of life. How this is so explained fully in the Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, mundane wranglers have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita to push forward their demonic propensities and mislead people regarding right understanding of the simple principles of life. Everyone should know how God or Krishna is great, and everyone should know the factual position of the living entities. Everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and that unless one serves Krishna, one has to serve illusion in different varieties of the three modes of material nature, and thus wander perpetually within the cycle of birth and death. Even the so-called liberated Mayavadi speculator has to undergo this process. This knowledge constitutes a great science, and each and every living being has to hear it for his own interest.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada is saying that we have to identify our position and we have to know God's position. You know, this is a great saying that God is great, right? In Christianity, especially. God is great. How many of you heard this written many places, right? God is great, God is great, God is great. Nobody talks how God is great, right? How God is great. Don't talk about it. God is great. That's it, right? But Bhagavad Gita talks how God is great. How God is great. This version of book will tell you, right? Because God is great, fine. And it's like just I say, Jyoti Joshi Mataji is great. I never talk about how she is great, right? I'm cheating people, right? People even start believing it, you know. People start following such people. Just think God is great, right? But person doesn't have idea of how God is great, right? And so that's what Prabhupada is saying. And what happens after that, if you don't know the God, then you don't reach the destination of God, right? So what happens? People get into this cycle of birth and death. We'll go into detail in Bhagavad Gita when we read. I will skip this section. If you have a lot of questions, hold on. You're going to get into Bhagavad Gita. We'll get all of answers. So don't worry if you're not getting all the detailed answers here. Next section we can divide into two. I think Ramya ji wanted to read, and then there was another person. I forgot the name. Half we can read, half paragraph and half paragraph here. Ramya ji, you can go.
People in general, especially in this age of Kali, are unarmed by the external energy of Krishna, and they wrongly think that by advancement of material comfort, every man will be happy. They have no knowledge that material or external nature is very strong, for everyone is strongly bound by stringent law of material nature. A living entity is happily the part and parcel of Lord, and thus his natural function is to render immediate service to Lord. By spell of illusion, one tries to be happy by serving his personal sense gratification in different form, which will never make him happy. Instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, he has to satisfy the senses of Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. The Lord wants this and he demands it. One has to understand this central point of Bhagavad Gita. Our Krishna conscious movement is teaching the whole world this central point, and because we are not polluting the theme of Bhagavad Gita as it is, everyone seriously interested in deriving benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita must take a help from Krishna conscious movement for practical understanding of Bhagavad Gita under direct guidance of Lord. We hope, therefore, the people will derive the greatest benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, as we have presented it here. And if even one man becomes a pure devotee of Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 12th May 1971, Sydney, Australia. So he wrote this in Sydney, Australia. Okay. So, so this the last paragraph, Prabhupada, saying that why you need this, because so much advancement we have earpod, we have laptop, we have nice house, nice car, nice money, food, everything, but we are not happy. Why? Because we are losing our natural position, right? We don't know. Actually, we don't know most of the time. And then we are serving someone in our life. We all have to do job. If you're not doing job, then you're serving your family as a mother, children, husband, wife, right? Serving someone. If you're serving none, then you're serving your pets and dogs. If you are serving no one, even like yogis, right? Like they're just meditating, sitting in meditation and doing nothing, then you're serving your senses. You have to serve your senses. Like tongue demands, give me food. You have to use hand and feel it. Eyes demand see. You have to serve the demand of the senses. If you're not serving anyone, you're serving your mind, right? So why don't we take everything and engage in service of Krishna? And then the whole exercise and activity become pleasure. How do you know this works? You try it. There is no other way, right? If I give you rasgulla, I show you rasgulla here, right? Like sweet. I eat and say very sweet, very sweet, very sweet. You cannot experience it. You can just listen. But if you do it, I give you rasgulla, put it in your mouth, and you feel, wow, this is nice. This is this taste, that taste, right? So likewise, Krishna consciousness movement is scientific and practical because you can try it, test it, reject it, accept it. No problem, right? That's how it should work. So that's a preface. Any questions, comments? We'll end here, and next week we'll start with introduction. At page number 1, that's where we'll start next week. See that? And homework is that you can read at least 10 pages, 10, 15, 10 pages, 1 to 10, and come next week. And then we'll go through it. Okay? So let's take questions, another 5-7 minutes, and then we'll end the session here. All right? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu,
One
can
of
I
the
ask one
important
question?
Yes, so first Ramyaji and then Sushilji, I'll come to you. You can raise your hand, that will be easier for me to follow.
Yeah, Prabhuji, my question was regarding this disciplic succession. As this is indicating the Sruta disciplic succession. So likewise, do we also have the Shukra succession chart, something which is there? or we don't have it as such?
Sukracharya, like demonic disciplic succession?
No. I am saying something which is related, like evam parampara praptam evam rajarshayo vidu.
Yes.
As it was first, it was told to Vivaswan, then to Ishvaku, then to Manu.
Yes.
So do we have something
So we
like
have,
that, like Krishna to Arjuna and like this,
yes,
Vyasdev
we
to
have it. I
Sukhdev?
think we reviewed. If you go to page number 30 of this book,
Okay.
page number 30 has the whole disciplic section names. Like if you see this here, Krishna, and then Brahma, Narada.
No, but that doesn't mention the relation. That is just a disciplic succession. Matlab, Guru to Shishya, and that's how it is coming down.
That's a relation. That is a relation.
That's a relation.
Yeah.
But otherwise, as it has been mentioned in 4th chapter, Vivaswan to Ikshvaku, and then to Manu, and then to
Oh yeah. So Vivaswan itself. So what happens? Yes, I think your point is correct. So, like, suppose you are a spiritual master and you have multiple disciples, right? So all of them don't go into next step, right? Some people don't want to preach. Some people just want to do deity worship. Some people want to focus certain aspect of bhakti devotion life, right? Only few wants to go and preach next, like want to be brahmacharyas and become a guru and go to next step, right? So likewise, not everyone you will see that, like you will see Krishna from Krishna to Vivaswan to, not everyone of their sons wanted to go next step, right? So this Krishna and Vivaswan, so if you go to Surya and Ichwaku were where? They were sons of Brahma, right? The lineage, if you see Ichwaku lineage, it will come from Brahma. Okay. So this one, the current age, in the current age, this disciplic succession talks about current age, right? As present, how it came. In different era, in different yugas or in different millennium, the whole theme remains same. Sometimes there are some deviations. Okay. The names may change, but the names may change. The process will remain cyclic succession, like one to next, like it's never broken, unbroken chain of disciplic succession, right? But the names may change in between because there are different personalities, right? You're getting me, or I'm confused?
Yeah. I'm getting, Prabhu. My question was that as the chain was already broken, and
Yes.
that is why this was
Krishna
spoken to
again
Arjuna
spoke.
to re-establish the whole thing. So
Exactly.
my question was, do we have something similar to this, which is actually which is really, for example, there is no Sukhdev also in this list, after Vyas there should be Sukhdev, but from Vyas it is directly to Madhva. So my
Yes,
question was that, do
yes.
we have something, some maybe separate chain of maybe a relation kind of a thing? Do we have something like? That's what my question, nothing else.
I have not researched, Prabhu. Honestly, I've never researched on it to see, but there will be someone made the chart. Like, what I understand what you are asking. The reason Sukadeva Goswami is not there because Sukadeva
Yes.
Goswami never had any more disciples. So his
Yes.
chain stopped there. But the Madhava took next step and made Prahladana from Padmanabha his disciple. So that's why only the continuous chain is mentioned. There will be many branches going and they never extended further. Okay. It makes sense. Maybe you can research for us and just, it should be on internet. People are
No,
doing
but
lot of work.
Bhagavatam, sometimes somewhere in the Bhagavatam I have read, I don't remember which canto, but yes, it mentioned that there is Shukra and there is Suta. But do we have something, some list of Shukras as well, So that's what my question, nothing else. I have read it
I
in
don't know.
Bhagavatam, some of the
Honestly, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to see and if I find something else here.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Next, Sushilji.
Sir, I wish to know that the Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, or the Sat Yuga. It is something, Sat Yuga is the 17,86,000 years ago. Dwapar is 8,64,000 years
Mhm.
ago. But as a history, I read that human civilization start just before 8,000 years ago.
Yes.
So
Yes. What is
it
true?
is. So how the Treta Yuga, Satyuga, it is so only our the ancient civilization.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
So
So
it's,
your question is like, what is true, right? Whether this 8,000 theory is true or this Treta, different yugas concept is true, right? Like, how do we know it is true? Is that the
it is
question?
somewhat conflicting. That
Yes. So no, I agree. I mean, I also used to think like that. But my brief, we will go into detail because this Bhagavad Gita has all that, when we progress, you will find whole detail. I'll give you what it is, how do you understand, but you can understand from here. Let's assume that people saying, history started 8,000 years ago. Let's hypothetically assume it, right? And if you
correct.
go, I'm not sure if you go and search evolution, evolution, if you
Yeah,
read any evolution book, they say that we came from monkeys, right? Monkeys suddenly started becoming straight and walking on, then monkey became a human. That's a theory.
correct,
That's
correct.
theory. Nobody have seen a monkey becoming human. Nobody's seen, but we believe it, right? That's what
Correct.
we are taught in school, and we believe it just because they said it. Take it, and how they say it? They say they take some skull from, and then they say, okay, they see the multiple skulls, and you see how did they changing, right? But did we ever go and see them? Never.
No, no.
Never. We just take it, right? Why? Never question. Okay, you take it. But do you think, and the same scientists, they write that human evolution happens millions and billions of, you see there is units in it. If you go and see
Right.
eons and so many units in there, billions and
Yes.
there is a whole chart I can show you. You can search on Google, scientific theory of human evolution. They talk about those millions and millions, but they don't reference Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Because the moment they reference to these literatures, documentation, histories, then what is they are doing, right? What exactly you're doing, sir? You're nothing, right? So there has been the whole British attempt and English attempt to mask this whole knowledge from public so that you can run business. Quarter. So we'll find out that. I'm just leaving you there. But you can read scientific book of evolution and you'll find millions of years of referencing just hypothetically. They're not saying any proof, nothing. Okay, you believe on it. When did the reptile change to, when fish walk on became reptile, when reptile started finding grass, became
Yes, yes.
animal,
Correct.
tiger, so I mean, now I feel
Correct. Correct.
rubbish, right? Because what's all that? What is this? Is just nonsense. I've never seen it. Nobody told me. I just believe it because this was in a nice book. It's an English author in from Stanford or Cambridge. And just I take it. Never question it. Anything, right? So I leave it there. But there is a whole research going on. There is so many both sides, and I myself is a scientist. I work in genome and genomic discovery. There is a whole genetic tracing. How did the humans migrate from India to other part of the world? How did that happen to Egypt and other places, right? How did civilization develop? Human civilization came in existence. So whole migration theories and so many things, continental split, and so many things are okay. So I can't give you all that, but hold on, you'll find a lot of that because I'll try to put that in context. Okay. Thank you for asking. Any last